B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading to Kansas City to talk about a rapper who grinded and grew his fan base organically to a level where he has some of the most loyal fans out there. With his distinct flow, voice, and overdubs, he's been releasing music on almost yearly basis for 25 years. Tech N9NE top 10 songs. Joining me, as always, Raven Hunter and my man, the Hurricane. Just the three of us. We're going to do this damn thing. So I'm starting at number 10. It's an album that is still my favorite Tech N9NE album. It always has been for the most part. And that's 2001's Angelic. And I'm going with the last song on the album, Twisted. I kept going back and forth between this and Einstein. They're both 10 and 11. But just the crazy lines he says in Twisted just get me every time. You got the late, great Roger Troutman on the hook, Don Juan on the beat, who he would have a big falling out with later. There's just so many ill and crazy lines, just ridiculous lines, but I mean that in a good way. And I think this album holds up over 20 years later. It still is a really, really good album. I have a lot of love for this album. So Twisted is my number 10. Kane, what's yours?
I have Psycho Bitch. I had to put it on here because it was the first Tech N9ne song that I heard. It kind of turned me on to the whole rest of his music. I love how they use that Halloween, beat. It just really exposed me to all of his stuff. It's a really good song, but I put it so high because I probably played it out. Now when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, but it's not my top song probably because I played it too much.
That was an honorable mention. A great sample, that Halloween sample, and it's a dope song, no doubt. It was flirting. It was in my top 15, probably. Number 10, Raven, what's yours?
Number 10, I went with 2002 Absolute Power with the song Slacker. Mainly, I was a huge fan of Tech when Angelic dropped. I liked Celsius the worst. I liked all his old shit. I was in California walking around Tower Records and I heard Slacker come on and I had not heard that song yet. And I was like, is this fucking Tech N9ne? Like, that's definitely Tech N9ne's voice, but what's this beat? And I talked to the dude that was there and he's like, oh yeah, this album drops next month and I already got it. So I can burn you a copy for $5. And I was like, do it. I'm walking around Tower Records anyway. So $5, I got a CDR with Tech N9ne scribbled on it and went to the hotel room, put it in. And I remember loving the album when it came out. Now I don't really like it. It has a lot of I don't know, just you could tell how much Tech changed between Angelic to Absolute Power. And I feel like he never quite went back to Angelic, which is he had a few albums that were close, but Slacker is one of the few songs that I can still put on and bob my head to. A really weird sounding producer like Femi Otamnajude or something produced the beat. I had to look that up because I had no idea, but it didn't feel like Tech, but it's a really dope song. So I went with Slacker. It still makes me bob my head.
No, that's a good pick, and it might get brought up again. And it's also a great transition because my number 9 is from 2002's Absolute Power. And like you, I remember when this dropped, being really into it. I loved this album. I bumped the shit out of it. I thought it was such a good album. And now when I revisited it, it wasn't as good as I remember either. The songs I still really like, but it seemed like there was so much filler that just didn't hold up 20 years later. So it's interesting you had that same thought, and I definitely had that same thought. But the song I'm picking is The Industry is Punks. This guy booted off my list probably about 5 times, but anytime it would come on again, I'm like, man, this gets me so hype. It has to make the list. But holy shit, so dope. He does the fast Tech N9ne flow, great beat. And the industry is full of punks. We've all been in the industry and we know how it is. And, lines like how many Tupacs, Jay-Z's, and Master P's can they conceive is so true. Shit like Suge Knight punked the industry quick. That's because most of the industry's bitch. I mean, I love the words in this song. Plus, he kills it. And the beat makes me want to punch my computer. Industry is punks. Had to get love from Chris. So that's my number 9. Kane, what's yours?
I got Now It's On. I love the beat first off, and it's a part of like the art of noise, that this long ass like 10-minute song that is like no lyrics, and it's just this beat and these different sounds into it. I never knew about it because I was like, when I listened to it again, I was like, what is this? What is this? What is this beat from? So I looked it up, and it was this Art of Noise, and it's
Hmm.
this crazy ass song that's just 10 minutes long with all these different sounds into it. But anyways, Tex just kills his verse on it in typical fashion. I think it's off of an early album, the song, but I first heard it on that vintage Tech album.
Is it on The
Um,
Worst or Celsius? Probably one of
It
those
was on
two.
one of those two, yeah.
Right.
yeah, but yeah, that's when I first heard it, and I was like, this is the jam. So yeah, now it's on.
Number 9, Raven. What's your number 9?
Funny enough, the worst was the first album I heard from him that made me dive headfirst into Angelic when that dropped. And God, I still love that album. But anyway, I went to 2015 Special Effects with like one of the only songs I like, which is super commercial, and it's Hood Go Crazy with 2 Chainz and B.O.B. And it's just such a simple and catchy fucking song that it's like I bob my head every time I hear it. I didn't think it was gonna make it, but yeah, it was produced by N4. It kept jumping back onto my list, so I had to get it near the bottom at least. But Hood Go Crazy still kind of makes me bob my head every time I hear it.
My number 8, I'm keeping it lately. 2021's Asinine. And I fell for the hype. The song Face Off features King ISO, Joey Cool, and the fucking Rock, the People's Champ rapping.
He killed
I
that shit
know
too.
I totally fell for that shit. I mean, I loved it. Just drawn in by hearing the Rock rap. And I was kind of surprised that Rock knew who Tech N9ne was. I don't picture the Rock bumping strange music, but everyone kills it. Well, the first 3 kill it, and Rock does all right. I mean, he's not a rapper, and for what he does, the 8 bars or whatever are passable. And I realize I'm probably just picking it because I was a huge Rock fan back in the late '90s, and it just makes me smile seeing him rap with Tech N9ne. It's so bizarre, but it works, and it's a memorable video too. But King ISO and Joey Cool both bring it. They have the best verses. They even outdo Tech on it, I think. I bought into the hype. Face Off. My number 8. Kane, what's yours?
I got Some Good off of Dominion. Every time the song comes on, I smile. I might be a weed head, but that's some good weed. That's some good weed. So I head out of the dispensary and I'm like, yeah, that's some good weed. And the beat's awesome, and Tex verse has some funny parts. Yeah, in the chorus about that's some good weed.
Number 8. Raven.
Number 8. I went to 2006 with what might actually have become my new favorite Tech album next to Angelic is Ever Ready the Religion. I went with The Beast, produced by
Yes.
The Riffs. It's such a dope, hard ass beat. Tech has such a good fucking flow in that song. And really, that album was, I don't know, I don't remember hearing a lot about it when it came out. I bought it and I liked it when it came out, but I didn't love it. Like, I was still listening to Angelic and Absolute Power all the time when that came out. So, but that might be my new favorite album next to Angelic. Ever Ready is a hard fucking record, and The Beast had a dope fucking beat.
I'm so glad that got picked. That was in, my top 15 as an honorable mention. And I couldn't agree more. I listened to Absolute Power and I thought this didn't age well. I listened to Ever Ready. I'm like, this is even better than
Damn.
I remember. And The Beast, super dope song, like you said. When he says, give me 2 stomps and a clap in this bitch, and the beat drops and it's
Yeah.
just boom, boom.
Hell yeah.
I mean, you just feel that shit. Genius. Just fucking
Hard,
genius.
yes.
So hardcore. I'm glad. I was hoping someone would have The Beast on there because I just couldn't get it on mine. But I'm going number 7. I'm going to 2011's all 6s and 7s. I couldn't find my copy. It's somewhere. And I'm a softie, so I'm going with the song Mama Nem. I'm a sucker for on the real, deep lyric type songs. And, I put this up with Tupac's Dear Mama as far as this subject matter, like a love letter to moms. Chris Calico on the hook singing is the perfect beat for this type of song. And this is another one where I kept taking it off like this isn't a top 10. And then I'd go through the songs again and be like, I really like this song. He's talking about being a kid and getting his green machine, big wheel and all those things. It just got me. So that's my number 7, Mama Nem. Not much else to say. Kane, what's your number 7?
Curious off of the Bad Season. Re-listening to this album, I thought this album had a bunch of good stuff on it. I don't even really remember it coming out or how, yeah, this song is just the whole story is with his girl, and he's like, your friends out there, come on, like, and just how he puts everything through the song. He's like, I'm digging on you, but I'm real curious about your friend. Like, yeah, it's a dope song.
One thing going through this is he has so much material. I mean, he pretty much dropped the album almost every year, whether it was a Tech Nine album or, he's got like 5 of those Tech Nine collabo albums. It's amazing the amount of material he's
Filler.
put out.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, there's filler in there. I agree. I agree. The second half of his career, I don't like even close to as much as his beginning, but he's at least putting out material.
I mean, still making money, and he's got, like you said, dedicated fans.
So I know you are not one of those dedicated fans, but what's your number 7, Raven?
I went to 2001 Angelic for the first time with a song produced by Sean Raspberry, also known as DJ Ice Rock Craven, who is a very underrated producer. And I went with It's Alive. That beat is fucking hard. It's such a dope ass fucking beat. And that's really, I don't even really listen to what Tech got to say. That beat just gets me in it. It's Alive is fucking hard.
It's amazing how well that album held up. This is how I do it behind the scenes, how the sausage is made. I'll go through an artist's whole album from the first album they released all the way to the end. I'll get like a tentative list and then I'll go through it again. But the ones I'm really feeling, I'll keep replaying. And I might just be a handful of songs, but Angelic, I would just play the whole thing. I mean,
It's such a good album.
it's such a good album that holds up so well. I'm glad it's getting some love. I am at number 6, and I'm going to 2006's Ever Ready, The Religion. And I'm going with the commercial-ish song, but it's the first single, Bout to Bubble. This was a single off the album, but I think it's a really fun song. I get into it every time, and it's a great mix of old school hip-hop with a Tech N9NE modern twist on it. I just get a vibe, like an old school hip-hop vibe. It's a great beat around this time he was working with a producer named Seven. He did this beat. I love where it's changing every 4 bars. And then you get that one fast bar, just the way he put it all together. And, he's obviously amazing with his fast flow, but sometimes I prefer the slower flow of Tech. Most of my songs is him not rapping that rapid fire machine gun flow. Song just always makes me jam out. This is some B-boy shit. So Bout to
That song
Bubble.
definitely was like 11 or 12 for me. That
Yeah.
damn near made my list.
Yeah, it gets me every time. I just rock out to that shit. Bout to Bubble, my number 6. Kane, what's yours?
One Good Time, off the Killer album. This song feels, like it's so from the heart. Like he wants to have a good like cry, like, and he's like, I go to funerals, I can't cry. I go to this, like he has all this shit on his chest that he's just trying to get off. And I really like hearing that from artists. I really like when they like talk about like, this is really what I'm going through. This is like real shit. One Good Time.
I'm
Killer
so
had a lot of good songs on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Killer was the last album I really, really liked, probably. Everything else I felt hit and miss. And there was filler on Killer because it was a double album. Almost all double albums have fillers. But I love that someone else loves this song because I always thought it was kind of a hidden gem. And spoiler alert, it will be brought up later, but I love that someone else loves it too. Great fucking song. One Good Time. Raven, what's your number 6?
Number 6, the only other song I put on here from Absolute Power with Big Chris Calico, I'm a Playa. And it's just that I remember the first time I heard that beat felt so epic, even though it's just sampling shit, just the stomping along with it. It just seemed like such an epic and clever way to twist that Amadeus shit. And I love Chris Calico anyway. I love his little part through the end and shit too.
Mhm.
Plus Chris is a really dope guy, so I do like Chris Calico. But yeah, I went with I'm a Player.
And I believe that was the last song on that record.
Yeah, and it
So
just hit.
it hits so good. No, that was an honorable mention. I like that song a lot. You know how I am with first and last. I really think albums should be bookend. And this started with The Industry is Punks and ended with I'm a Player. So I love the bookends of this album. There was a lot in the middle that I wasn't a huge fan of. And since we're talking about absolute power, I'm at number 5 and I'm going there one last time for the night. And I'm going with Slacker. It just makes me laugh to this day. Like you said, Raven, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm a slacker. I don't know. We all either know someone like this or we felt like this, even if it was for a small time, just like you don't want to do shit.
Yeah.
So many great lines, and it's got a memorable video. He's just in his room, freaking being a slacker, and then he's rapping like
Like
in his
eating cereal
bathroom
and
and
shit.
shit. Yeah, he's in bed eating cereal. Then a chick comes over. It's just funny. I believe this also was the first single off this record. I believe so. And I know I said this album aged bad, but the two I picked off it, I still absolutely love. It's the rest of the album. I was just like, I didn't hate it. I just was like,
Yeah, but
whatever. Yeah, that's all right. But Slacker is my shit. I play video games all day. That's my number 5. Kane, what's yours?
I'm a player off of Absolute Power. I like a bunch of songs off this album, guys. You're gonna hear about this album again. I jammed to this shit. But this is just a catchy song. I can't help but jam to it. I love the same, cadence of the beat of the Amadeus thing. Like that's super cool. I love the part when he's like, learn this lesson when you wash off, just use hot water, don't put no soap on your washcloth. I still think of that to this day. I still I still think like, yeah, tech taught you.
Taking health class with Tech N9NE.
Yeah, so I'm a player.
No, I definitely love that song. It just missed out. That's why it was an honorable mention. Number 5, Raven. What's yours?
Number 5, I went back to 2001 Angelic, Real Killer, produced by King Tech. I just remember when that song came out, and I felt like the first time I heard that, I was just like, holy shit, he's talking about abortion. Like, you didn't hear a lot of talk about abortions back then in the early 2000s and shit. Not like as it got, more mainstream or commercial.
Right.
It was definitely a shock value kind of song, but the chorus where he's just like, I'm a real killer, don't fuck with me, basically. And I'm just like, you're talking about killing a fetus. It's not that, you're not that hard. But I think that was the point of the song, I
Right.
guess. I don't know. I don't even remember loving this song back then. I liked it because I like every song in Angelic, but it really, I don't know, something about that beat and the way he flows and the ridiculousness of the entire package of that song. I had to put that on there.
Well, it happens every episode. We might as well slide right into my number 4, Real
Ooh.
Killer off of Angelic. Like you said, it's such an ill way to look at it, abortion. And like you said, it wasn't brought up. I know the Ghetto Boys had a song
Yeah.
called The Unseen, which was kind of anti-abortion. But this was such an ill, way to look at it. Just can't say anything, but it's just so ill. And, even though he talks in the song how it affected him, he ended up keep doing it and made the chick do the
5
same.
times.
I
And I
murdered
killed
5
fucking
kids of
you.
mine, right? And I don't even know if it's an anti or pro abortion. I don't think it's
Same.
either. Yeah, I don't think
No,
it's
I think
either.
it's just here's the story.
Right.
But I still laugh at like the baby thinking I'm grimy or whatever, like because
Right.
he knows I'm going to
The
kill him. Like,
Yeah.
Me and her were down. I don't think the baby was G, so we 3
Yeah.
was a Kansas. Yeah, no, such a great song. And like you said, King Tech from Swain Tech did the beat, which I
yeah.
found it interesting. That was my number 4. Kane, what's yours?
Delusional off of all sixes and sevens. When this album came out, I was, I was doing a lot of dumb shit, going through breakups and shit, and this song like so spoke to me, like, cause that's how I was doing shit, like maybe I should just drink a little more, maybe that'll fix everything, like just shit like that, like I was delusional. So I bumped this song all the time, like I'm like, yep, this is it, and I was just so the song really is it's a dope song too, but it's something that reminds me of a time and yeah, I had to put on the list.
We are on number 4. Raven, what's yours?
Number 4, Ever Ready the Religion. I went back to, produced by Seven with Come Gangsta. Just a dope ass beat with a dope ass song. Tech does his really good back and forth, fast to slow. I used to love like I'm a Tell and shit like that because of the way he did that back and forth
Mm-hmm.
flow. It wasn't until he really overdrowned it with his chuss that I really stopped enjoying his music because it doesn't need to be every single 2 lines, every single song. But yeah, Come Gangsta, just really dope beat. This is, I think, before Seven started working with ICP or around the same time he started working with them.
Mm-hmm.
And his beats fit Tech way more than they fit ICP.
I would agree with that. No, it's a really good beat. And even just the way he says, come gangsta, oh, it slows
Hell
down
yeah.
for the hook. Super, super dope. Top 3 we got here fast. I'm going to 2006's Ever Ready, The Religion. And I'm going with the last track, This Is Me. Like I said before, it's such a great album. And this is the track that ends it. And Tech does a good job at beginning and ending albums, like I said. It's just a perfect song to end an amazing album. It's structured perfectly from the chorus, hook. Then he has those little like 2-bar bridges where he talks about Kanye and 50 Cent. You know, the beat will just slow down and I love 50 Cent. He gritty when he vent, but I'm rough. And then he goes back to his fast flow. I just always thought that was structured so great. It just, this song always gets me hype. It's so dope. I almost wanted it higher, but it slid to number 3. This Is Me. Number 3, Kane, what's yours?
I got Yada 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 off of Absolute Power. I think it's a great diss song. I love the first line, like, what if I could just blink your shit away? Like he could have stopped the song right there. That is a
Right,
cold ass line. I feel like you could feel the emotion in that song too because of him being, close to Don Juan that whole,
right.
for a long time. And then, I don't know what happened, but whatever falling out happened.
Well, you can tell in that song it's personal. I mean,
Yeah.
he's meaning what he's saying, and it's a great hook too. And it was an honorable mention. Great, like you said, great this song. And I always really, really liked the hook. So I'm glad it got brought up. Raven, what's your number 3?
Number 3, I went back to Angelic, produced by Don Juan with the song Tormented. I always really like that beat. That's a really classic Tech N9NE example for his flows. The beat's amazing. That's all I wrote down is flow classic, Tech I love, amazing beat.
Wow, top 2, just like that. And we're talking about Angelic, so I'll bring it up to 2001's Angelic. My number 2 is Cursed. So Tech takes the common I used to love her theme and puts his own dark Tech N9NE twist on it. And he goes through his whole life and career up to that point, navigating through the rap industry. This one I just always related to. I love the beginning. It's just like a piano. And I was born in 71, 72. I started to walk 73, 74, and he goes to all the way till he gets to 1985's the number. I met this bitch. And then he goes on talk about the rap industry. I just think that's done so fucking well. Don Juan on the beat. He did a lot of this album. If my number 1 wasn't so personal, this would be my number 1. This song just always gets me rocking. I just fucking love how it's structured, what he's talking about. Talks about all the different rappers, Chino XL and Tupac and all these people he's met through the industry and how they dealt with her and, how Tech is dealing with her and he just wants to fuck you, Great song, Curse. Number 2, Kane, what's yours?
Keep on keeping on. I really tried to not have 3 songs off the same album, but like I said, I really like that Absolute Power album. I went back and forth and had to put this one on because the message and the way it starts the first verse. So amazing how he puts it together. It's fast but understandable. The cadence fits perfectly, and he's like, "Fuck you, people. I'm going to keep on keeping on." And I love that. I love that message. Y'all can't get me down. I'm gonna keep moving on.
Yeah, I don't know why Absolute Power aged badly to me. And it was interesting. I mean, we're always so like Raven in our taste that you had that same view. It's just like when that album dropped, I played it and played it and played it and played it. So when I revisited, I was all ready to be into it. And it just, I
Let
don't know what
down.
it is.
I felt really let
Yeah,
down.
I felt let down. You're right. It was like going on a blind date and damn, she kind of looks like a dude.
Hmm. Which is cool if that's what you're looking for.
Right. And I'm not saying that's ever happened to
No, I know.
me. Number two, Raven, what's yours?
I'm gonna stay floating around the angelic era, produced by Don Juan and John Carpenter with Psycho Bitch. I know John Carpenter only, gets that producer credit because of the samples, but he sampled every single fucking piece of that theme from the first Halloween. Like every cadence piece is in there, and he flows to that, and I love that. It was, I was really into like Isham and shit around the time this came out, so it was like just cool to find another artist that had that darker feel to it. And I maybe that's why Angelic resonated with me. What was it? I think like Elevator or Devil Boy or something's the first song. So it starts
Mhm.
off kind of dark and shit and
Right.
just goes. I know we've said it 15 times now. That fucking album just flows. And that Psycho Bitch, every piece of that beat gets me hype. And maybe it's because I've got Halloween on right now while I'm doing this. Like I don't know. I love Psycho Bitch.
No, it is a great use of that sample. And do you think John Carpenter knows who Tech Nine is? Probably not.
No, he might get a check that has Aaron Yates or whatever signed at the bottom, but I doubt
Right.
it.
Such a great use of that sample. I'm glad it made your two lists because it just missed mine, which brings us to number one. And I kind of spoiled it earlier, but I'm going to 2008's Killer. Oh, this promo shit's falling out. Killer. And I'm going with One Good Time. First, let's talk about the album. Such a genius, take off the Michael Jackson Thriller album, except he's in his straight coat. On the Thriller, when you put the vinyl out, it was a little tiger cub on Michael Jackson. On Tech Nine, he's got this bitch with like tiger stripes on her. I mean, just done so well. But this song, I relate so much to this song. I felt like Tech wrote it for me, about me. How he just wants to cry and he can't. He's got all this mental pain, and if he could just cry and get it out, he couldn't. And I've been to way too many. Every single funeral, family, close friends, I always feel like an asshole. I feel like people judge me that I'm like, I don't care because I just don't cry. It's not how my brain handles pain, it handles it in other ways. So every funeral I've ever been to, and I'm watching everyone cry, I feel like an asshole, like a dick. Uh, for whatever reason, that's not how I deal with those situations in my brain. So this song, I felt like it was about me, and the beat fits the subject matter so perfectly with that acoustic guitar in the background. And nothing will ever beat this song for me when it comes to Tech Nine. I mean, head and shoulders above all of his other music. One Good Time will always be my favorite. So that had to be number one. There was no debate. When we said we are going to do this list, I put One Good Time. Everything else was debatable. So that's my number one. Kane, what's yours?
I got This Ring off of Angelic. This is like the ultimate Tech Nine song to me, I feel. It has this like real emotion to it that he's on the road, he's trying to make money for his family and provide, but then he's, bad for doing that because he's not around and just that whole struggle that he's going through at that time. I love how it's put together. I love his flow to it. I love the beat to it. I love all of that, but that real part of it that you know maybe he was going through at that time. I love that type of music.
No, it's a super, super dope song. It was on my honorable mention. Raven, what was number one on your list and your heart?
But I was really happy to hear you guys talk about One Good Time because I struggled not to get it on my list. Mainly because I gravitate towards really hard music. I'm
Right.
a gangster rap, child. I grew up listening to Easy, so that's what I gravitate towards. But when my dad died and I was 18 years old and I'm standing at the funeral, the only person not bawling their eyes out, and I felt totally alienated, like I'm the bad person here. Not that I couldn't not feel something from it,
Right.
but I just never had that ability. I cried the first time I heard that song because I felt like that was opening up something in me that I didn't even realize. You know what I mean? So I didn't put it on the list mainly because damn near every song is just a really hard banger that I put on here. My number one was My World with Brother Lynch Hung and Dilemma from Ever Ready, produced by the legendary Traxster. Eminem was supposed to be in that song, but
Yes.
when he was supposed to be in the studio, Proof died, so he had to pull out from it. M would have went so much harder than Dilemma, not to hate on him, but
Right.
that song would have really blown something up
Yeah.
because Tech flows flawlessly. Brother Lynch Hung, probably the best flow Brother Lynch Hung has ever had, and I liked Brother Lynch Hung back in the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
All the way up through like the suicide notes and all that shit he did on Strange. I was a big fan of BLH, so he blew my fucking mind on that song. And then hearing it again re-blew my mind and had me listening to Brother Lynch Hung shit. And I had to turn that off because that's not what we're working on right now. But I'm really glad someone got one good time in. Both of you did, and that's surprising me, so I'm glad to hear that. But I went with My World.
Brother Lynch Hung kills that shit. Kills it.
Flawlessly.
Just destroys it. You're right. And if Eminem would have been on there like he was supposed to, imagine that song.
Amazing.
That would have been
That song would have blown up.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd have been such an iconic song. It would have been mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. So that's the Tech N9NE list. As always, honorable mentions. If I thought it needed some love and no one brought it up, I'll just quick show it some love. Even though it's like a 30-second song, I always was a mark for Stamina, where he's rapping over the machine gun.
Such a good little skit.
Yeah. I like Suicide Letter off that. And Worst Enemy, when he's talking about his dick as his worst enemy. I mean, we pretty much covered every song off that album now, right? Nothing else from Absolute Power. Ever Ready. I like Riot Maker, the first actual song. I like The Rain. His daughter raps on it. I'm a Softie. On The Killer, we got Like Yeah, kind of gets me. Why You Ain't Call Me. And on the Clusterfuck EP, the title track, I really like that. I got Speed 'Em on there. Song called Stars. And a song called Kick It With Myself Off a Planet, which was an album I wasn't a big fan of, but I did really like the song. So those are my honorable mentions. Did we miss anything?
Nah, you guys covered everything I would have put on there more than likely. So all of Angelic and then One Good Time were kind of like my set asides. So.
What did you guys think of Psycho Bitch 2 and 3? Should they not have been made?
I didn't.
I like 3. I like 3 because I like Hop.
Hop's
that's the one with Hop, right? The third one.
Right,
I like that because Hop sounded really good, and it is one of the only like 3 or 4 songs I like off special effects. 2, I'd never really liked. I don't think it should have been called Psycho Bitch, but
right. Yeah. When you make a song,
listened to both of those getting ready for this, and I was like, like it. And what so hard to follow up Psycho Bitch,
right?
Shouldn't try.
Right.
The beat alone, like nothing else you're gonna pick is gonna match that tone.
That's why most movie sequels are never as good as if the original's a classic. It's just an impossible feat. It's like trying to rap on a Posse track after I Go. I mean, you're not gonna be.
How am I gonna follow that up?
Right.
Hopefully you put me before you on that track.
Yeah, that's what I'll go last so I don't embarrass you guys.
Yeah, but then that's a strong finish.
Have a good one. Till next time.
All right.
B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed. Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed.